Greetings, everyone, and welcome. I am Mike Quartararo, and I am with today my co-host,
Jeff Ravella. Hey, everyone.
This is Mind Matters, where we break the silence in legal spaces. We share real stories. We talk openly about mental health, about well-being, about addiction, recovery, and all things related. And, of course, resources for dealing with all the above. Jeff, how are you doing today?
Doing good, man. I think as in the spirit of the show, we have kind of open, honest conversations about where we're at in all things Mind Matters. So thought I'd lead off. It's been a summer, man. It has been, as I've described before, a lifey summer, a lot of things happening. I'm stressed out of my mind. I definitely woke up this morning with the overbearing fear of the day. I've got to, take care of work, kids stuff, because it's summer. We're going to do this show. I'm nervous about this show, but I'm excited about the guests. So for me, just a quick, thought to complete that. While I'm stressed about a lot of things going on in life and how busy it is, I remind myself of the fact that I get to do this. I get to be a part of it, and not that I have to do this. It's tasky. It turns into the gratitude of being able to do it. So just want to share that little nugget that helps me in a lot of situations where I remind myself I get to do it these days. How about you, man? How are you doing?
I'm right. I'm a little stressed too, but I'm trying to keep it to a minimum. Just dealing with some lingering health issues, but we'll be fine. This is generally stress-less for me.
Yeah.
But hey, this is not about us. Let's bring in our guests.
Absolutely.
Hello, Alicia. Hello, Adam.
Hello
there.
Hopefully the next 27 minutes will be enjoyable and stress-free.
That's our goal. Exactly. Fun. Bring laughter.
I'm already feeling the levity. I'm already feeling the energy. You guys are up to some amazing stuff. And like Mike said, the focus is on you guys today. And that's why I'm excited, because it's not about me. It's about you guys in this show. So this is kind of fun.
So let's introduce our guest. Alicia, why don't you tell us who you are, what you do, and why you're here?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks so much for having us. So I'm Alicia Hawley. I've been a big law litigator for almost 25 years, which is kind of shocking to say out loud. And I've experienced depression and anxiety since I was a child. And dealt with that, and then a developing alcohol addiction when I was a young lawyer. And Adam and I met last summer. It's crazy because it feels like it's been so much longer than that, but we met last summer at ILTA, actually at the Chris Stapleton concert before ILTA. And we were really like-minded in this idea that mental health and well-being are and should be priorities for professionals, especially in the legal field, and that it is oftentimes really hard to know how to prioritize mental health and well-being, if it's even possible to do it. And so we put together Sustained, which is this wellness summit, and I'll let Adam talk more about it. But we're really both drawing from our personal experiences to try to bring support and build a community, out of our personal experiences and, of course, other people's personal experiences.
Yeah. And, to expand upon that, I've been kind of in the legal technology world, graduated from law school a while back, but I've been here for around 20 years. It is crazy. But I think the focus, and in my journey, I experienced extreme loneliness, and really went through some hard times with some suicidal thoughts. And what really brought me along was that community. And I think that's really the point of Sustained, is bringing people together to, into a space where they can feel safe, like this podcast, to talk about, hey, how are you? And really answer that question. And not just simply, okay, I'm fine. But to use ooey gooey words like I'm languishing, or I am just not feeling well today. to really start to unpack why, because again, the power is in the communication. When you feel safe to let go, now all of a sudden things become free. And free is the best place to be.
And it's about being your authentic self, right? That's what it's really about. It's about being comfortable in your own skin and, understanding how others perceive you and how you want to be presented to the world, right?
Yeah, and I think that's really hard to do. I think it's something that we hit on every once in a while, that we're our authentic self. But I do think that mastering that skill more and more is something that is really key, as you said.
Yeah, I think something that's interesting with both, with all of us, what we're doing here is the fact that we're making the time to focus on this endeavor. Like, we all have very busy day jobs, and we also prioritize this aspect of the community. And something I was sharing about in the first episode, we've got such a tight knit community. We all know each other, and I think it's really admirable what you guys are doing to put a kind of a stake down and say, we're going to make a conference, we're going to make a summit around this and bring people together. And I think there's, having you guys as the first guest on the show is really significant in that this is the trend. And, I have my own journey, my own personal journey, and I've gotten a lot out of it, but it's when we turn that experience and share that experience outward. Alicia, you sharing about your anxiety and depression and alcoholism. Adam, you sharing about your loneliness and suicide. That's incredibly personal. That's absolutely beautiful. And we don't often do that. I hid my alcoholism. I hid my using for so long because I thought that would keep me back. And as you both have shared, it's quite the opposite. Sharing it is empowering, and it gives others a voice. And as Mike was saying, the chance to be your authentic self.
Yeah, it's really interesting because Adam said, he was talking about loneliness, right? And that is a common theme in my journey too. And Jeff, I know you just touched on it a little bit, and I know we've talked about it separately too, that feeling of being really isolated or alone in what you're going through. And that for me has been a big driving force for sharing and for doing this quote unquote work. I don't know how to be anybody except who I am. I show up who I am all the time at all times. So for me, it wasn't really scary to start talking about it, but I didn't want to do it until I was sober, right? Until I really was sober and felt like I had a good handle on things. And part of that though, is because of this the shame and the stigma that are attached to it, which is part of what drives the feeling of isolation and loneliness, right? Like if somebody's having a panic attack or is feeling, extreme anxiety, they don't necessarily want to share that because they think it makes them look weak, or they think their boss is going to, retaliate against them in some way, like take work away from them or not give them the same opportunity because they think that they're dealing with something. So there's all these different reasons, and all of it compounds into this isolation and this loneliness and this feeling of I am doing this by myself and I'm going through this by myself and nobody else can relate to this. And that was a big driving factor for me is, the talking about it and the sharing. And I want people to know that they are not alone.
Right.
That's it.
And I could not agree with that more. I mean, again, we are not here to pass a judgment. We are here to react in who you are and the experience you've gone through. I mean, the epicenter of where I felt the loneliness was among 100,000 screaming fans at Penn State in my freshman year. And all of those people, all of that fun, freshman year of college, great. I didn't know anyone. I came from 1,000 miles away, and it was the hardest time to go through. And it's what's really made me, and I feel like I was blessed to have the perspective of, I need to start building a way out of this. And to be able to give people a safe space to say, okay, how can I start building? I had resources. I had people in that college environment that I could go to, therapists, different faith sanghas that I went to. We want to be able to just provide yet another resource. Hey, here's a place, a safe space where you can come and talk.
Let me ask this question, because I'm pretty sure we'll have people watching this who are curious about, okay, how do you know when you've got a problem here? So let me just ask you both, what was your turning point, Alicia?
Oh, listen, there was never a moment that I didn't know I was an alcoholic. I knew I didn't drink for years because I didn't drink in college, which is like, what? I didn't have a drop of alcohol in college. I didn't drink until my last year of law school. And part of that was because the disease of alcoholism runs in my family. And I was so, and it's not like a self-fulfilling prophecy here, but I was cautious about it. I was also a professional athlete. I was a dancer. And so it didn't make a lot of sense for me to be like going out and partying and trying to be at rehearsal at 8 a.m. Right. Like, so I didn't drink, but as soon as I did, I knew like my relationship with alcohol was not the same as everybody else's, or, the majority of the population. I knew it was a bad relationship very quickly. So for me, as soon, after probably 2 years after I started drinking, it was already in problem territory. And I wanted help from then. And I didn't get sober for like 13 years, but I knew from the very beginning that it was bad. And the last 8 years that I lived in addiction, like I was like, someone help me. I was like, please, is anybody seeing me? Like, I knew it was a problem and I wanted help the whole time.
Yeah, I think for me with my loneliness, it really came to a head probably end of the first semester, middle of the second semester of my freshman year, because I had identified and who I was this high achieving student, was this person who was on the golf team and the soccer team in high school. And that I told myself that story so much. And when I hit a wall that was hard, my first major in college was astronomy and astrophysics. And my advisor had just came from China, a brilliant man, but could not speak much English, could not really advise me. And one of my first seminar classes was from one of the first people who discovered a planet outside of this solar system. So I now had a wall that was hard, and I just further and further drilled into that story that I pushed people away and pushed people away and pushed people away, and then started going to parties because that's where people were, and my grades started to suffer, and then I'm in this cycle.
Yeah.
I found a group of people the middle year of my freshman year that really were focused on international policy. I just wanted to try something to get out of physics and matrices. And they just completely understood. They understood about being alone. They understood about this. They kind of accepted me and pointed me to some of the help that I started to take. And I realized that the story that I was telling myself, I could be much more than just that story. I could be complicated. I could be down. I could be happy. I don't have to be a great student unless I want to be. And that's, the grades I got, my parents being surprised at the grades I got for the first semester, and going from there, that's really where it became, okay, I need to really focus on supporting myself and going from there.
Love it. Yeah, I love that both your stories involve the awareness, the desire to do something different, but there was also a need to see that there was other ways and hear about other solutions from outside.
Yeah.
I'm similar myself. I know I need to change. I know I should not be drinking the way I'm drinking, behaving the way I'm behaving, but it took me seeing others that had done it to realize there was another way. And that, I think, is kind of like what brings us kind of I hear your backgrounds and your stories going into this, and that makes sense why we're here now having this conversation about Sustained. I'm curious, like, how did you guys link up, and like, how did these stories kind of dovetail into Sustained?
Started at the Stapleton concert. I mean, really,
we literally were at a Chris Stapleton concert.
Yeah,
Not
really
even a joke. We were at like a pre-ILTA event at a Chris Stapleton concert, and we were sitting next to each other at the concert, and like we started talking, and we had been introduced, I think, virtually before that, but like it was like a fleeting sort of like, you should meet each other, like you have similar things going on, and then we met at that concert, and then Adam can tell the rest of it, like because he brought it to me, he brought this to me. So
yeah,
it's
been a really important focus of my life. I've been doing a mindfulness and wellness group with ILTA that we meet every first Friday of the month to have these conversations, to create this space. And then I kind of, the people at the Masters Conference knew that this was important. And they came to me and they said, hey, would you like to partner to create a conference around this? And of course, I mean, I said yes. And the first person I thought of was Alicia. The conversations we had, I have been trying, to stop drinking as much alcohol because I've always questioned, why do I need a drink in a social situation? Like, that's weird to me. And the looks I got for ordering a coffee at the Chris Stapleton concert, it was just something that I tried to be like, okay, what is this? And so it's that I love the passion Alicia brings to this. She kind of matches my energy on this. And I think that's what made it easy to ask her to join me here.
So I think we should explain a little bit more about Sustained. What is it? What is the vision? What does the future look like for Sustained? What are you guys planning?
Go.
So I'll start. Sustained it's a wellness summit, is what we're called. Sustained a wellness summit, and the idea is right now it's a 1-day summit, and I'll Tarantino this and start at the end, which is my entire goal for this summit, and I tell Adam this ad nauseum, is I want people to leave the day and go, that was a great freaking day. That's it. Like, I want people to walk away, and whatever that means for them, that was a great freaking day, except not freaking, because I have a potty mouth, but that is my goal. And so right now it's a 1-day summit. We are not talking at people. We are talking with people. So we will be doing real, like TED Talk style presentations and roundtables and little chats and discussions, and we have some fun things planned throughout the day and some fun things planned for the the after party, and it's really a focus on all types of things that go into the mental health and wellness sort of dialogue. So I would imagine that we'll have a session about bullying, for example, or about sexual harassment in the workplace, right? These are things that impact mental health and well-being and wellness in the workplace. So it's not just going to be some of the obvious topics. We will be having conversations about anything that seems like it's going to be, helpful and relevant. And the last thing I'll say is, Adam and I have interesting and similar, but also different perspectives in this, in so much as, for me, I come at this from how can we make sure people feel like they have a safe space, maybe for themselves. And I know that Adam, maybe this is a good transition to Adam. Adam comes from this more from let's make sure people have tools to help others.
Yep.
And I think that's a great mesh.
Yeah. And I think that's my goal, because, one of the things that brought me out of my darkness was the fact that I was given ways to not only help me, but go out and then help others. And one of the greatest ways to bring people out of a depression or bring people back into the light is to then help somebody else light their fire. And that's, I think, my goal with Sustained, is to be able to have people. That's why I went and got mental health first aid certified for adults and youth. I am addicted to going out and getting more tools to help. And I think when it comes to Sustained, we want to, that's my driving goal, is to be able to give people a way to say, hey, cool, this can help me. But if I see somebody else, I can go and help them as well. And I think, to go Tarantino as well, my goal at the end is for people to come out of it saying, wow, it's okay to feel everything.
Yeah.
I don't want to beat back sadness anymore. I don't want to beat back fear. I want to live in that, understand it, and then unpack it, and then start their journey to that awareness that helped me so much. So I think that's really, I'm looking forward to all of the fun things we have planned. I get giddy and, have these happy attacks when I start thinking about it. Because that's really what it is. I would challenge any of our listeners, anybody out there, to start counting your happy attacks, where you just get really excited about something. And that's, where we're going with Sustained.
Well,
and it's going to be, it's going to be, this year we're in Chicago, November 13th. Our plan is next year to have 4 of them around the country. So Chicago is our flagship city, which means that we expect to be in Chicago every year. But then the other cities some will remain consistent, but some will shift. So next year we expect 4 cities, including Chicago. But that's our short to mid-term plan.
Yeah, and to be clear, we're not looking to run the same show in every city, because what we recognize is that not only is every person different, but every locale is different. And what people may be facing in every city may be different. And so we want to make sure to try and bring different flavors to these different places. And I think that's why the Masters Conference, focus, and those conferences that go out to the various cities really was something we liked.
That's beautiful. I think one of the themes that I'm hearing you guys talk about is the service nature of this, and the kind of giving it away to keep it. So in recovery, we talk about I keep my sobriety by working with others. If I don't help someone else, if I don't work on, helping another alcoholic, then I can't keep it myself. And you both are demonstrating that so sincerely and deeply with what you're doing.
Thank you.
So a friend of mine said to me some years ago, the surest way to feel joy is to be in service of others.
Yes.
And I was like, whoa, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
It's so true. And service is, I'm not in AA, but I know that service and helping others in addiction is part of the AA and the NA model, the anonymous model. And so yes, Jeff, it's part of just who we are.
Yeah.
And I think it just happened organically. But it's absolutely such a mood booster for us.
Yeah.
But also for those, hopefully, that we are in service to.
It's literally why I became an educator. There's something rewarding about teaching.
100%.
Sharing something with people who don't know that thing, and the reward, is really just seeing them blossom, right, with whatever you've taught them. And that's true for all educators. It's why I think educators are the most awesome people in the world. But Jeff, you had a thought?
I was just going to say, we just kind of talked about bringing the message to others. This sounds like an open conference for anyone that would benefit from it. Just real quick, is there a not a pitch, but a target audience, or who should come to this, right?
And by the way, the link is in the comments for anyone who wants to
Yes.
learn more. A link to the website is in the comments.
Yeah, I think our focus is everyone and anyone. Obviously, both Alicia and I love the legal industry and our heart's there, but I feel there's value in having a litigator talk with a doctor or a police officer. and or a teacher. And so anyone that can find value, that's where we want to focus.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I shared this on my personal Facebook page, which I had to get whatever. Facebook
No free
was
meta
like,
ads.
it was no good. Like I just had to, like, for my own mental health, that was a mental health boundary I had to set like in the last year. But I did post one of the only posts I've posted in the last 6 months was to announce this conference, and I immediately had all of these friends of mine who are not in the legal industry be like, "Can I come? I really need this. Can I come?
Lovely.
Is this something that's open?" And I was like, yes, yes, yes. Like people who are in marketing, educate. I mean, just people who are not affiliated. And I was like, this is not just for the legal industry.
No.
This is for any and everyone, anybody who's a professional. So, which really is anyone. So we really care a lot about that.
We need to pivot to our next segment, and that's about resources and tools for people. So let's go there. Alicia, Adam, is there some resource you would point people to? Obviously, they're sustained, but that's not coming for a few months. Is there something that sort of made a difference in your journey?
Yeah, I mean, the thing that I will say that I always say is people really hesitate to ask for help because they are afraid that the act of asking for help is going to have a negative impact on them. So particularly in the legal industry. So what I would say is if there is a resource that is anonymous, trust that it is anonymous.
Yeah.
So like the legal assistance projects that we have across the United States, or anything that is a workplace related resource that is anonymous, trust that it is anonymous. And that you can reach out to it, you can leverage that service and that resource, and that no one that you work with will know. Because those are really good resources, and people are afraid to use them because they're afraid of the consequences.
Adam?
I think for me, the thing I want to trumpet from the rooftops is the mental health first aid certifications. These are certifications that are completely free. And mostly offered by local healthcare systems. Think of it as a CPR training, except you're learning tips and tricks to help people in a mental health crisis. There are certifications for adults and for youth. It really goes through, I think, a lot of the different ways that the brains work differently, and how you can engage people in a way that is caring, and how to help people and point them into the right direction for what they need. Again, the point of mental health first aid is not to diagnose, it's to help people get connected to where they need. And so it's something that's incredibly valued, and something that for the price, free, it's worthwhile completely.
Jeff, what's worked for you?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about 12-step programs. I have a therapist. I have a physical outlet as well. I do ultra running. So I just kind of channel my energy into things that are healthier. But I love find someone you trust. And I love that comment, Alicia. You have to start by wanting something for yourself. It has to be from the inside. And it helps, I found, to ask for help. And that first step of asking for help is the biggest step, because a lot of people don't admit they have a problem. I did not. And resources like the mental health first aid, I love that. That's on my to-do list for this year, Adam. Huge. And it goes back to the service aspects. The first step is getting help, and the second step is bringing that to others. And I think that's like a big piece of maintaining our sanity and being, helpful to others.
And I know we're out of time, but I'll say on that last point, anytime I talk about these types of topics, people come up to me and say, how can I help somebody? If I think someone's in trouble or they need help, like what do I do without being weird or aggressive or whatever? And here's what I suggest. And this is something that Brene Brown apparently said, but I have now adopted it, which is if you want someone to know that you are there for them, you can ask them, what does support for me look like for you? It's non-invasive, it's gentle, but it's just letting them know, like, hey man, I'm here for you if you ever need anything. I'm not going to push it, but just FYI, call me if you need me, you know?
It's open, it's inviting, it's open, it's an open-ended invitation. Yeah, that's really valuable. All right, I'm sorry to say that we're out of time. We could obviously talk about this for hours.
Yeah.
And I'm sure we'll do it again at some point. Thank you, Alicia. Thank you, Adam, for sharing your story. And thank you for making time for us today. Jeff, great to see you. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Yeah. And
thanks
to everyone for joining us on this journey, everyone out there in the audience. Hopefully this reaches people. Hopefully attend sustains. We're just really excited to share the message. For me, I just want to point out we are not alone in this. This is something that we're all doing together, one step at a time together. So thank you.
Let's keep showing up for each other.
Everyone.
Thanks, everyone.
Yeah. Have a good weekend.
Take care.